Hi, this is ESPN's Dave Lamont, and you're listening to the Sports Objective Podcast, the unofficial podcast of the Pirates.
Welcome into the Sports Objective as we have a big show with you. In fact, really tough weekend for the Pirates, losing last night 11-1. Still to come in the show, by the way, we'll have the strength and conditioning coach, former strength and conditioning coach for the Pirates, Jeff Connors. He's got a new venture, and we can't wait to talk about that. But first with us, we have Bubba Rosenbaum. What's up, dude?
Not a whole lot, like you said, Dave. Disappointing finish to the Super Regional, but tremendous season. What those guys accomplished, winning 22 out of the last 25. Regular season and tournament championships. Hosting another regional, just the second team to do so for 4 straight years, and then hosting a second Super Regional. Just so much to be proud of, and we'll talk about that environment here with our guest.
No doubt. In fact, former Major League pitcher and obviously ESPN analyst for college baseball, Gregg Olson. Greg, thanks so much for joining us.
Oh, my pleasure. I appreciate you guys jumping on short notice.
No doubt. I appreciate you very much. So are you recovering from Greenville, the jungle? Did anybody spill? Let me ask you a question, Greg. Did anybody spill a beer on you while you were in the jungle?
Did not. It wasn't for a lack of beer. But no, they were good. Just a couple of them nestled up and were trying to get as close and in the photo a picture as they could. But no beer, thankfully, because I only had 3 ESPN shirts and wasn't going to pull out a new one. So,
Greg, I heard you on the broadcast. I was back and forth, went to some of the games, didn't go to all of them. And then last night I got tired of waiting and came back home and took in the rest of the game on the broadcast, and I heard you refer to Clark-LeClair Stadium in the jungle as a football type atmosphere. It was one of the best atmospheres you had seen for college baseball. So, just kind of reiterate your overall opinion of what you thought of the atmosphere of the Super Regionals in Greenville.
I mean, it really, the tailgating before the game, going and getting your space an hour before the game is not normal. The attendance, you guys broke records Friday and Saturday, and then Sunday fell, like 50 people short. So the attendance was off the charts. The atmosphere, the way that, the passion of the fans was just, I think Coach Godwin, said it in our pre-regional or pre-super regional interview that he was really trying to make it an SEC type of atmosphere just by his, based on his being an assistant at LSU and, going through that whole process of seeing what LSU looked like. Ole Miss is crazy. Tennessee's crazy. You go, up and down for the most part of the SEC, and they're crazy atmospheres, and that's what you guys have right there in Greenville.
Yeah, no doubt. And it's something that, I think East Carolina prides themselves on that, on being a very passionate fan base. And not only in baseball, but football also. And, of course, we're talking about baseball right now. But, yeah, and I think the fans can be proud of the effort, and so can the team. What were your overall thoughts on our baseball team? We have some issues with the pitching staff. C.J. Mayhew was our only true starter this year. We kind of did it by committee the rest of the way. With your pitching background, what is your thoughts on our staff? And do you see, in terms of the talent we have now, guys that can progress and be more productive as a starter in the coming seasons?
Yeah, I thought Mayhew was good. Was it Wisenhunt getting suspended early on really hurt you guys? But
big time.
I thought the job that Godwin did piecing together the staff, and it was almost like the team that the Tampa Rays had going to the World Series, where bunch of different looks coming out of the bullpen and guys piggybacking. He made the best of the situation. I mean, you had some guys that threw really well. You had guys that had their unique roles and were very good at it. Savage was very good. Sailor, both times I saw him was just extremely solid. What hurt you guys was that Spivey was kind of Spivey's strength was the same as Texas.
Yeah.
And that hurt you guys because then all of a sudden he's not as effective. He gets dinged around, a little bit Friday and then Saturday. And that was, I think that was a big part of the game was that your pitcher of the year is pitching right into the strength of what Texas was trying to do, which is let the ball get deep and travel. And, Agnos was really good doing what he did. I mean, you guys have a lot of the pieces. It was just you don't do it the traditional starter. For me, it was a fascinating weekend to watch because you guys knock out the Texas starters other than Sunday.
Yeah.
And their bullpen has been a train wreck, and your bullpen has been really good, and you guys are using openers. So it was really a fascinating, back and forth between the two teams.
Can't help but wonder, obviously everybody's going to look back on Saturday, but I can't help but wonder in hindsight's 2020, had we started Sailor yesterday rather than bringing him out the bullpen and Texas hadn't got off to that fast start, if maybe our offense would have been a little more productive, not getting down so fast.
Well, you never know, but, it took you out of your small ball game. You guys, play early on. You got guys that will bunt, move the runners around, steal bases. Down 9-1 in the second inning, you can't do it. So yeah, it took you guys completely out of your game. And then the two guys that carried you all week, Jenkins, Cowart, and Worrell, didn't have good nights yesterday. So that was in essence the ball game.
And Sailor didn't have and Greg Sailor, as far as whenever he started, he had some tough outs from what I can remember, like tough days at the office when they started him in the season. So I think that was one of the things I heard is why maybe he didn't get the start.
More comfortable coming out of the bullpen.
Well, some guys like that. Some guys can, bounce around like Spivey did, where he got the start on last Monday. Everybody's different, I went from starter then to closer my last 2 years at Auburn. And then, Team USA for the Pan American Games, I go from closer to starter for them because that's what they needed. So everybody's different. Everybody has, spots that fit. Maybe Sailor needs to figure out that he just stays in that power mode and just goes as hard as he can. And he might be thinking I'm a starter. I need to go deep and conserves energy, pitches a little bit differently. I don't know. I can't say, I can't speak intelligently on it. Sorry. I just got the hiccup. Excuse me.
You're good. A little indigestion there with the hiccups. That happens to all of us. So we look ahead to Omaha. The Pirates didn't make it, obviously, Greg. Who do you think is the favorite right now? Notre Dame upsetting Tennessee obviously was a big deal. Who do you like in Omaha to make it to the championship?
Man, I don't know. You know what? All these SEC teams, we got, 2 more games today, or one's being played right now, and then you got Auburn and Corvallis. Sorry, I'm going back outside. Still got the hiccups. I don't know. I really don't. I mean, Ole Miss, their issue all year has been the lack of pitching. Their offense has been unbelievable. And all of a sudden they throw 2 shutouts, and they hadn't thrown a shutout in 64 games this year, and they get 2 shutouts in the Super Regional against Southern Miss. So if they're deciding they're going to start to pitch with that offense, they're going to be trouble. Arkansas has been there. A&M was there a couple of years ago. I don't know I haven't seen Stanford. I've seen Notre Dame twice. It's up for grabs. If ECU had gotten there, it would have been game on.
Don't even. I don't even want to look about that.
All right, sorry.
Hey, it's better than the alternative, right? I mean,
well, you guys were right there. You guys got to feel good that you're one of the best teams in the country. And it's a program changing moment. You guys, if when you get to Omaha, I know how big it was for Auburn to get back there after, what was it, 21 years? 97 to 2018, they go back, and they went 2-0, but it was still a program changing moment. I mean, you guys were right there, toe to toe with, arguably the best team in college baseball history, which is Texas.
What is missing? What is missing, Greg, that we need to do to get over the hump? Is there anything that you saw?
Well, I mean, we talked about it. I didn't feel like you guys had, and I think it was really down this year. Just a dude on Friday, your opening night guy, being a 7-inning, mid-2 ERA, 11-1, like Pete Hansen's numbers, on Friday night. He didn't throw like a dude, but 11-1 on the year with a 2.5 or 2.6 or whatever ERA was. That, I mean, that's just huge, because you guys are going to run into some guys that are Friday night guys that can flat out throw it, and it's going to be a low scoring game. You got to keep the other team down, but those guys, there weren't very many of them this year, so I'm not going to sit here and say what you guys need. You guys know it better than I do. It's the more starting pitching you guys can get. Your bullpen's as good as there was, that I had seen in the country, and the way that it was used was solid. It was a really great coaching job of putting guys in good spots coming out of the bullpen. Everybody was unique. Beal, 2 different arm slots. Everybody had good breaking balls. A couple 4-seam guys, a bunch of 2-seam guys, change up. It was solid. It was a solid bullpen. It just seems like you need maybe one big dude at the beginning, but everybody's searching for him.
Greg, let me
I
ask.
want to get your thoughts on a couple of guys, one of whom is moving on. Bryson Wool, he was just on an absolute tear in the postseason. 6 home runs combined between the regional and super regional, and really developed into the player we all knew he could become. And then a guy like a freshman in Jacob Jenkins-Cowart, JJC, just can't wait to see what the future holds for him. He's such a tremendous player, but also an emotional leader.
Yeah, Worrell was really good, and I think one of the best players in the country. It's just the way he goes about everything, the way he was swinging it from both sides of the plate, this regional and then super regional. He'll get, sadly enough, he'll probably be getting picked up, later in the draft, just because he's a senior. He's got no, how old is he? 22, 23? I don't know.
Yes, sir. Yeah, because he's with COVID and everything. He's been around even longer. So
5-year senior, 5th year.
That means that whoever drafts him is going to have to rush him up. What? Yeah. Whoever drafts him is going to have to rush him up. And there was a general manager that was staying in my hotel. And we were discussing him and Melendez, both great college players, college hitters, defensively really solid, good athletes. And it's just they're seniors, they're older. And he's like, I would take them round 2, round 3, round 4. I'd take both of those guys and start them in A-ball, give them a month in A-ball, and then rush them to Double-A and just rush them up instead of doing what they're doing with the 17-year-olds, which is a year here, a year in the next level, a year in the next level, and it takes them 5 years to get out of the minors. I'd just slam them up through the minor leagues, wherever they get to and aren't effective, leave them there for a while, and let's see if they fix it.
Greg, I got a question for you. Speaking of JJC, he's taken a little bit of heat from Pirate fans, despite all the good he did, for not making that catch late 7th inning with 2 outs. That kind of led to the 3-run home run that led to the Texas comeback. You probably remember the play I'm talking about. It would have ended the inning in the 7th in game 2. I'm sure as a closer and the roles you had for the Orioles, the Braves, etc., Diamondbacks, and then back in college, there's been times where you've taken the heat for a big loss. How does that affect you mentally, particularly as a young player? And everybody's different, but obviously he's probably blaming himself a lot for that play Saturday. But just in terms of if you were going to give him any advice, just how would you tell him to kind of move on from that and not harp on it?
All right. First question back was that the Faltini double that he was supposed to catch or the game ender in the 9th inning?
The double in the 7th.
Oh, I didn't think he had a chance to catch it. I really did. I didn't think a thing about it, to be honest with you.
Wow. Pirate fans seem to think he should have made the play. He shouldn't have jumped.
Honestly, I thought he had a better shot at the one out in the 9th inning, the game ender.
Wow.
I thought he had a better shot at that one, but that would have been a full-on layout.
Yeah.
I honestly didn't think a thing about, and I didn't say one thing about it. I would have, because I just, I'm calling the game as I see it. I don't care. I didn't think I didn't think he should have caught it. No, not at all. So going back to your question, I took the blame. If there was any question, I had a game where my second baseman threw a ball in the dugout and, cost me the game. And it's like, it was my fault. That runner was on second base when he threw it in the dugout. So, I took the blame. I took the heat. And I owned it. I was fine with it. And so I would tell him that, if you honestly think you could have caught it, then own it. If it ever comes up again and they ask you that question and you go, I had no chance of catching that, then own that too. Be honest. And then when you go home and you're sitting by yourself and you're shaving or you're brushing your teeth at night and you're looking in the mirror, be honest with that guy in the mirror on what you did today. And that is the best way to grow up, move on, learn things, is looking that guy in the mirror and being really honest with him of what could you have done better today. And if you honestly think you could have caught it, then own it and figure out what you can do better next time. But I honestly didn't think one thing about that play, like he should have caught it.
Thanks. Gregg, appreciate you coming on. One final question, the hardest question for you. Did you have any barbecue while you were in Greenville?
I did not. No. We stopped at, I think, Parker's, and looked like it was closed. I think maybe Fridays.
What in the world?
Game.
Oh, wow.
Well, on behalf, look, if you ever come back to call another game, and the East Carolina should be handling that. They should make sure everybody gets Eastern North Carolina barbecue from B's or Parker's or somewhere. Get up with the boys at Sports Objective and we'll hook you up.
All right, you got it. Well, if I get back there, hopefully, I actually did one of your games. I can't remember who you guys were playing. I did it. I think it was an ACC network game. Did that from home, did the whole regional from home, and then I finally got to Greenville for the Super. So it was a lot of fun. The people were great. They were very nice. Everybody had great things to say, and so next time I just got to make sure I find a barbecue pit as I'm walking in and out of the stadium.
Yep, no doubt.
We'll get you some in the jungle for sure. Gregg, thanks so much, and enjoy your vacation, and appreciate you coming to Greenville and doing a great job.
My pleasure. Thanks, guys. Nice talking to you.
All right, same here. Take care.
Thanks, Gregg.
Yep.
Gregg Olson there. Appreciate Gregg so much. Did a great job. And now I'll tell you what, we're very excited anytime we can talk Pirate football, but we have with us right now a lot of special guests here. But first, former strength and conditioning coach for the Pirates.
Is this Hollywood Squares?
It's getting there.
Yeah, I'll take Coach Connors for the block. Coach Jeff Connors has a great thing. And Coach, first of all, as we always tell you, thank you so much for all that you did for the Pirates, for the football team for many, many years. And now we want to have you back on. Really excited. Let's talk about your new venture, Armored Life.
Well, I appreciate it. I appreciate the opportunity. Armored Life is an organization that I founded, and I'm the founder and director, and I'm self-funding this organization. Basically, what we're going to try to be is an oasis for troubled athletes. It is a Christian organization. And I know that, Pernell's with us tonight, and Pernell's going to have to go to work at 7:30. So if you don't mind, I'd like for Pernell to go ahead and step up and tell you what he's doing right now with his life and what his role is as part of the team in Armored Life. So if we could just let Pernell say a few words, I appreciate it.
Pernell, thank you so much for coming on. And I know you've been involved with ministry for a long time, and talk about that Armored Life, your part with Coach.
Yeah, first and foremost, guys, I just want to say thank you, man, for having me on. I know myself and Coach Connors, we've been trying to partner with each other to do either a podcast or a video. And, my work schedule is just very demanding. And so I do have an opportunity to actually share, what God has really been doing in my life. I'm currently the youth pastor at Ebenezer Baptist Church here in Rocky Mount, North Carolina. I've been in that position since February 2016. I'm also a operations manager, so I work for Cummins Rocky Mount Engine Plant. And I do work third shift. However, I do want to share that Armored Life has been a blessing to me. And when Coach Connors, when he came to me and shared with me his vision, it actually fell in line with what I was doing as far as with the Griffin experiment. Coach Connor, he wants to take the holistic approach. Armored Life wants to take the holistic approach in building a student athlete. A lot of times we get student athletes that come into our program who are misguided. They really don't have that foundation of character and integrity. They make foolish decisions and put themselves, back themselves in a corner by the decisions that they made. So prayerfully with Armored Life, we want to attack that mindset of a student athlete that appears as though they're invincible. Those who have been led astray, we want to make sure that they have a successful career, not only when they come into East Carolina, but also when they leave. We want to put those things in place so when these individuals, need support or need assistance, we're able to help them and build them up in those areas. So that's currently what I've been doing now. Just real excited about what Armored Life would do for our community and ultimately globally, because when these individuals come into your program, they graduate, they leave, they go different areas. And so, as they go to those different areas, they can also establish Armored Life wherever they are.
Pernell, what are some of the bigger issues you see facing young student athletes that you say, that are going down the wrong path? Do you see some of the same issues repeating themselves over and over? Obviously, everybody's different, but is it a lot of the same issues?
I think the issues are similar. You have individuals that may be struggling with self-esteem issues. You have individuals that academically may be struggling because they've probably been told that they'll never amount to anything. They're trying to be more than what they're actually showing. A lot of individuals who are looking to drinking and doing drugs or what have you, sex before marriage or what have you, that kind of lead them astray. So a lot of the challenges that we actually run into, it could be financial, them not being financially stable or secure, at home, and they want to make these quick decisions to try to, support other family members. So you have a lot of things that are going on. You have individuals that just don't see themselves in being successful. We talk a lot about being successful, but you have some student athletes that are afraid to actually become successful because they feel like, they're leaving a part of them behind. But I honestly believe, man, that God's designed us. He's given us a unique design that we all have a path that we have to take. But the beauty in that is that the path that we have to take, it always goes back to glorifying Him. So,
guys, let me just jump in here really quick. I wanted to say hello to Pernell. Pernell, I think
what's up, Matt?
Man, it's good to see you. I think it's been about 23 years since you and I have had a chance to bump into each other. So it's great to see you. I'm really happy first of all, I'm really happy for all your success. Obviously, I'm really happy to see you doing great things with your life. Certainly no surprise there. You guys know that Pernell was a tremendous linebacker at East Carolina. So no surprise, man, to see you doing so well and getting involved with this venture here. But Pernell, I wanted to just kind of ask you your thoughts. I mean, things are so much different when you and I played now. Social media is one of these things that, these young athletes nowadays are dealing with. They're dealing with Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. And along with that can come, obviously many pitfalls where you can get yourself in trouble and say the wrong things. We just wanted to kind of get your thoughts on that. If that's something, the conversations you're having with young people about kind of the pitfalls of social media and how to avoid that.
Well, I pretty much try to talk to them regarding some of the terrible decisions that I've made, as a student athlete. As a matter of fact, I think I may have mentioned this to Coach Connors, but coming back from my freshman All-American year, man, I was empty inside, and I felt like I just felt like giving up. To be honest with you, I had thoughts of just committing suicide, even though I had the accolades coming back. My sophomore year, there were a lot of things that were going on mentally that I just couldn't wrap my mind around. It felt like there was so much pressure. There was so high of an expectation on me to produce. I had Logan on my back about making 300s and 110s, and Coach Connors was pushing us to be, the best student athlete that we could be, and then, trying to be a positive citizen within my community. Not making the mistakes that will actually bring a negative light, to the school, to East Carolina, or to my parents, or, to my home and to my church. Being a 17, 18, 19-year-old man, it is very pressure driven that we meet expectations and demands. And I'm thankful that we didn't have all this social media things that were going on when I was in college, man. I tell you,
Me too.
it would have really, really put a whole lot of people on blast. So the students now, man, they're dealing with so many things virtual that almost literally is out of their control. They really have to be rooted and grounded and have a spirit, man, and they have to be disciplined. And I think that's something Coach Connor knows a whole lot about. They have to be disciplined in their life and how they live, because they're not only demonstrating their life for themselves, but there are so many other individuals that are involved with their success. So that's pretty much what I see. This generation has grown up in this social media and environment to where they feel like they have to be the next best thing as far as doing things that no one else has done before, and then they find themselves getting caught up, man. Very easy to do. It's harder to demonstrate that good character, but it's so easy, man, to get caught up in the things of this world and the cares of this life. And the Bible says that once you do that, it'll actually choke the word of God on the inside of you, and the word of God will not be profitable. So this is where we are. This is what I'm excited about. And I believe that this is the fight of my life.
Pernell, we know you got to get to work here in a minute, but you said something a few minutes ago that I thought was really incredibly interesting, and I'm wondering if you would elaborate on it a little bit. It's pretty deep to me just hearing you say it. You said sometimes these student athletes feel like they're leaving part of themselves behind by changing who they are and changing those bad habits. Elaborate on that a little bit. That's pretty deep.
Well, you have individuals that have come from different areas of life. You have a lot of people that their environment pretty much shapes them. And so if they're living in an environment where they don't see anything but failure, they don't see anything but, if I don't get locked up, I don't have any street cred. If I don't, I feel like I'm selling out. If I try to make these good decisions or these decisions for the better, I feel like I'm selling out, from my friends and where I've come from. That's a lie of Satan, and that goes back to the pits of hell from whence it came. God wants us to be able to prosper, and he wants us to be in good health. And not only that, he wants us to be a light to where others can actually gravitate to you, so they can see your success, and then that light, and then his power will be shared abroad to other individuals. So that's a lot of things of what, a lot of our student athletes are dealing with. They feel like they got to bring everybody with them. And if someone, is not in agreement with what they're doing, then they feel like they failed everybody. And that's the struggle, and that's the challenge that I see that, we're actually dealing with. And that's the curse, and that's the generational curse that we're moving forward to break.
Hey, Pernell, before we let you go, you and Matt played together, and obviously you worked with Coach Connors. Do y'all have a funny Coach Connors story since we have you guys on the panel, and then we'll let you go, Pernell, to end on a light note? Anything you can tell?
Hey, look, I have a funny Coach Connors story, and I got a funny Matt Semenza story.
All right.
Uh-oh.
I'm gonna start with Matt Semenza first. I met Matt. I actually came in as a buck linebacker, and Coach Webb was actually my position coach, and me and Matt, we played the same position when I came into East Carolina. And I was at practice one day, and it was a defensive practice, and Coach Paul Jett was calling the defensive plays, and we just felt like, what the defense that we were in just was not working, right? But no one said anything. So I guess Matt just got to the point to where he just got so teed off, man. He grabbed the playbook from Coach Paul Jett, and I mean, man, he tore it up. And I was like, man, this guy is crazy. I said, man, this guy is crazy. And I tell you what, and since then, man, I tell you what, we became a cohesive linebacking core, man, that we kind of set the tone for our defense. Now with Coach Connors, leading up to the week we were playing Syracuse. I guess the year before, I think we got beat by Donovan McNabb and that crew like 50-0.
Last time, that's the last time we had a shutout.
But it was like 97, I believe.
Yeah.
And so we were actually working out. This was during our off season. We were working out, and we went out to the field. And got out to the field, man. We just saw all of these pumpkins. I mean, it was so many pumpkins, and he had the score of what the score of what the game was the last time we played Syracuse. And man, he had these big old hammers, man. He said, listen, this is what we're going to do to Syracuse. He had us out there busting pumpkins, and I mean, pumpkin juice everywhere.
That would have been the 2000 Syracuse game that you guys played in the tropical storm, right?
Yeah. Well, actually, I think that
we won the game.
Yeah, you're exactly right. We won the game. And look, and that was the game I tore my MCL.
Oh man!
But I tell you, leading up to that week, man, he said, we're gonna beat these guys and break their bones for the first 3 quarters, and then the fourth quarter, I want to see blood.
I didn't see any blood, but you succeeded nonetheless.
Yeah, we did, man. I tell you, man. He set the tone, man. I would run through a wall for the guy, for Coach C, man. I tell you. Oh man, he brought these professional boxers into the locker room one game.
Oh, that was a good one. That was a good one.
And I mean, these guys were knocking each other out. I forget what game it was. I don't know if it was Southern Miss.
Cincinnati.
Wow, and these guys, man, they came in there. And I mean, just so many memories, man. He showed us a video, game type video, man. You just had to be there. It wasn't anything that was harmful or nothing like that. But it was a motivating.
Now was that 97? Was that 97 Cincinnati, the Thursday night game in Greenville?
That was a raining game.
It was a raining. It was
Randy was muddy.
Halloween, coach. I think we played him on Halloween.
I just remember that the Cincinnati coach was talking about how they rubbed mud on their faces before the game. And then they talked to Steve Logan, and he was like, Well, hell, my strength and conditioning coach had two guys fighting in the locker room.
Oh man, that's great.
Yeah.
Well,
Hey,
Pernell, if
Hey,
you
Pernell, I just want to tell you about that script that got torn up. Coach Jet deserved that one. And some of the guys that year, they took part of that script that was all crumbled up and they framed it for me, and I still have it somewhere.
Nice.
well,
Coach
I tell you,
Connors
man,
loves that story. Oh man, that's
that was
classic.
something else. I was like, man, this guy here, man. I mean, this guy's crazy. I love that.
exactly. That's why y'all won so many games, guys. That's why y'all won a lot. You were absolute beast. Pernell, how can people reach out to you? I know that we got to let you go. Thank you so much. We'll have you back on, obviously not about Armored Life, but about Pirate Football, your ministry as well. How can people reach out to you just in case?
Yeah, I do have a Facebook page, Pernell Griffin, that they can reach out to me. It's also the Griffin Experiment. You guys have my, well, if you don't have my phone number is 252-367-9059. Guys can just give me a call, man. We can set something up. Also, my email is lowercase, my first name, dot last name Griffin @gmail.com. So I can also be reached there as well. Just looking forward, man, to greater and to better, man. I think it's our time and our season. And I do want to leave this with you guys, man. Matthew, the 9th chapter, the 35th verse, Jesus, he goes and he teaches his disciple about ministry. And he goes and he says, listen, he says, look, he says that Jesus was moved with compassion when he saw the crowds. They were harassed. They were scattered as if they didn't have a shepherd. He comes back and he says, the harvest is plentiful, but the workers are few. Then he says, ask the Lord of the harvest, therefore, to send out workers into his harvest fields. And I believe that that's what God has done in Coach Connor's life. He's identified individuals that are actually willing to go out and do the work. There's so many that need what Armored Life has to offer. I believe that this is the plan of God, and Coach Connors is moving into that direction, him and his committee. Hats off to you, Coach. Hats off to all of you guys who are part of Armored Life. God bless you, man, and I pray that you guys enjoy the rest of your evening.
Same to you. Thank you so much, Pernell.
All right, Pernell. Come back during football season, and we'll break down some of the defenses. All right.
Okay. Sounds good.
All right, man. Great to see you.
All right.
See you later.
Take care. All right.
So I'll give you a few of the very specific things now. The reason that, this kind of came into fruition here, what I saw with players over, 30 some years, people being disgruntled with playing time, of course, violation of team rules, some felonies, a lot of things happening downtown in bars in both, whatever town I was in, whatever team I was with. Of course, alcoholism, and probably the main thing where we lost so many guys who lost their scholarships was repeated smoking of marijuana and, just testing positive 2 or 3 times. It was a little bit different every school that I was at as far as how it was handled internally. But I've seen at least 100 guys go down the road and miss out on a scholarship for repeatedly smoking marijuana. Of course, a lot of players had distractions because they had a child to take care of. And then, when I talk about fatherlessness, people always want to, say, well, that's kind of insinuate that it's a racial thing or something. Look, let me tell you something. There's enough white and black people out there that don't have a father. I mean, you're talking about 60, 70% of a football team sometimes that haven't had a father in the home. So, that is not characteristic to one culture. That's characteristic to many cultures. And so that's another thing that's huge that we want to try to address. But what we want to try to do is reach out and provide a spiritual life to individuals that need that spiritual life, that need some counseling, that need basically some advice from guys that played in the league. And also, we've got 4 or 5 pastors on our team as well. So when you go down through our team that I put together, we got Pernell, we got Brian Moss, who was at ECU. He's in Texas now. He's a pastor. Leonard Henry, of course, is a pastor. Gene Williams is a pastor at Parker's Chapel. Scott Bircher is with us tonight. I'm going to introduce him here in a second. We got Amos Wilson, who's CJ's brother, who's a strength coach. Jason Brown, who has an unbelievable story in himself, played at UNC, and now he's got First Fruit Farms. Emmanuel McDaniel, Jeff Carr, Andre Purvis, who was an NFL player, played at Carolina. Richard Kuntz, and then we have Sean Drawn, also, who was a running back for about 7 or 8 teams in the league, played at Carolina. And then we got Donnie Kiefer and Chuck Colburn, who are going to be high school liaisons. So, we want to try to, of course, help any East Carolina athlete that we can. But we want this thing, just like Pernell said, we want to go globally with this. We want to make sure we get it into the high schools, and we want to actually have people come to the site and benefit from the site. So if you look at the site right now, armoredlife.org, you've got a couple podcasts on there. I've got a strength coach, Mike Swift, who's put some programs on there. I've put some speed programs on there, kettlebell programs. Everything on there is free. And then we also have a theme, actually about every couple of weeks. We had critical choices for greatness. Then we had bring glory to your gift. And now we've got overcoming adversity. And Scott Bircher's with us here tonight. And Scott is actually the worship director at Covenant Church. He's been there for quite a while. He can tell you a little bit more about what exactly he does there. But he is a musician, and he directs the music. But at the same time, he's just an incredible human being who God kind of put him in my path one day purposely to be part of this team. And what I'd like Scott to do, Scott, you can talk about anything that you want to talk about, but we're supposed to have Darren Hart here tonight. He might have chimed in, and Darren doesn't have a whole lot of patience, so I don't really know. But I'd like Scott to just say a little bit about our theme and how that theme relates to Ephesians 2 right now for this theme that we have right now, which is overcoming adversity. Scott.
Well, thank you, guys. I've been listening to the whole time. Thank you so much for just letting me listen and learn and grow from a bunch of professionals. I am definitely not a professional athlete. My background is in sports management, but I ended up being a full-time musician. So I don't know how that happens, but ran into Coach when I was doing some mentoring with a young guy in Greenville. And we Coach and I went to church together years and years ago. Long story short, I love to mentor young people. I've been a youth pastor for years. I'm in youth ministry, worship ministry. I've toured around doing music. Music is a lot like being a part of a team when you're part of a band. It's very similar. You have to prepare. You have to do everything. You got to get the grunt work in and do your part and play your part. And real quick, I just want to share something. And I'm so grateful for Pernell and Bubba and Kyle, Matt, Dave, all of you guys, and Jeff, of course, and Pernell had to go, but for just allowing me just a blip of your time. Again, Coach, thank you. Basically, he's talking a little bit about Ephesians chapter 2, and this is just long story short. There's a man named Paul in the Bible, and he teaches most of the New Testament that we read today. And really, there's death and life. He's really going to where we all in our lives, no matter what you're doing right now, if you're an athlete, you're a band member, whatever you guys are doing professionally, there's a thing where you were once doing this and then you're doing this. And spiritually, what Paul is saying is, Paul used to be named Saul, and he used to be dead spiritually. And this is what a lot of the young people that we're dealing with, they are dead spiritually. And so what Coach is doing, and what I love to help do, is mentor these young athletes to let them know that though they may be dead spiritually, they can be alive. And so they can be alive again only through Christ Jesus. And Paul in Ephesians talks about you were once dead, but now you're alive in Christ. And so we all have a hole that can only be filled with Christ, and we'll always be wrestling with things in your life, addictions, temptations, all the things that young men deal with. You grow old and you deal with them too. And don't say you don't. And I do too. So we have a hole that can only be filled with Jesus. And we just want to mentor these young people and lead them on the right path. Glad to be part of the team here. And I'm super stoked. If you have any questions, you can reach me through Coach. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Don't want to take up any more time. Appreciate you guys.
I see Darren has joined us.
Darren, what's up?
Hey, how y'all doing?
What's going on?
I'm doing good. Coach C was trying to get me to join in, and I hate I'm late, but I'm definitely down for the Armored Life.
Well, what I want to say is, I really wanted Darren to come on because, enthusiasm has been so important in the success that we had while we were all there at East Carolina during some special times. And Darren and his brother were right in the heart of that enthusiasm and enthusiastic leadership. They were spirit leaders, and there they are.
Hey.
And so these guys wouldn't back down from anything. And I'm just so proud of them. And I'm just so proud of what Darren's doing with these high school athletes that I see on Facebook all the time. And Darren, just tell us a little bit about the importance of enthusiasm and your coaching style.
Well, I tell you that I've had the opportunity to coach for now. I'm in my 24th year of coaching, and enthusiasm is everything. We call it energy. If you don't bring the energy, then it's hard to motivate. And I feel like you brought us energy when we played. I don't care if it was 5 a.m. Or on a road trip. You even actually did the pregame speeches and things because you were such a great motivational speaker that me and my brother now we want to become motivation speakers as we speak. Just like Toma, I think Toma got a podcast. He's trying to be a motivational speaker. I don't know where he's at, Cancun or somewhere. He got a job out there, but a lot of people were inspired to just motivate, and I bring energy because I think energy can sometimes be contagious, and I want my energy to rub off on others, and as a coach, we sometimes are put in leadership roles to kind of help motivate, and I've always just been a big time motivator. I may be the loudest person in the room, but I back up what using the old Coach C, hard work every day, no days off mentality. I've done a great job and had a great career actually in coaching.
Yes, sir.
And, hey, by the way, for both the Hart twins, I've heard so many stories of I'm sitting in the stands so many times and talking to friends. They said, man, with the defense today, it's ridiculous with officials. They said if the Hart twins were playing in the backfield now, they're playing as far as the defense, they would be ejected for so many games.
Yep.
I miss the days of the 90s when you guys used to hit those guys. Man, I was like, oh my God, I could hear it, how hard that was, the hard of a lick it was from the stands.
Yeah, I miss those days, but I've had quite a few concussions, so I'm probably on that list. But I enjoy just destroying people, and I still coach that way. But of course, we got to be, if you want to play a whole quarter of football, you got to kind of tone it down. But I still have that go get it mentality as far as finishing. We finish what we start. And that was one of our creeds one time. Coach C would always have creeds and finishing. I remember having a shirt that said, finish. We also had a shirt that said 12 rounds. Coach C, I remember all them shirts. look, unfinished business. I mean,
Yeah.
it goes on and on with some of the things that we learned back in our day that we still as players can still use to this day to help motivate and carry on a message of never giving up. And like Coach said, our father passed away when we got to East Carolina, and Steve Logan and the staff, they let us go home and told us to take our time coming back to East Carolina. And we went home and we buried my father, and we had to get right back. So we showed up like the next day, and everybody was like, "Why y'all back so early?" But football kind of helped us get through that moment. And our father wasn't in. He was in our life at the end, but it wasn't long. You know what I mean? So we gravitated to men that kind of gave a ministry to being successful, because we didn't know how to do. We didn't know what we were doing. We would just fish out of water. But Coach Connors gave us a ground setting of morals and things like that, and we kind of took that and ran. Shoot, nobody couldn't beat Coach Connors, so hell, nobody was gonna beat us. We was always the smallest men in the room.
That's right.
Darren, you mentioned, you can all, anytime we've had you on the show, you can tell your fire and your passion and your upbeat personality comes across. How do you use that? You've been a high school coach for 24 years now, been involved in Auburn life. How do you use that fire and that energy to inspire young men that are maybe troubled? How do you mentioned motivating them, but how do you use your personality specifically to motivate young men that are having some trouble?
It comes across. It's natural for me because I live it. You have to live it, and people, my players see that I live no days off and always being there, because as a strength coach, when I was doing the GA with Coach Connors, hell, that's the hardest job in the world, is early mornings and late nights, and you never can miss. The coaches get to go on vacations and go on the road, but as a strength coach, that instills in you, everyday mentality, and I learned that from working with Coach Connors. But I live it, and so it comes through my I don't know, the way I present and me just being there. The kids gravitate with me, and the coach nowadays, you have to build relationships with kids. It's a little bit different, than back in the day when we were playing stuff. Hell, you gotta kind of love your kids, and they gotta know you care. So I get ridiculed a little bit for coaching too much, and there's more things to life than coaching. But I tell people I never worked a day in my life because I never left the game of football. Now, when COVID came, that kind of messed me up a little bit, because I didn't know. I had to kind of reinvent myself, so I started doing dancing and stuff on the computer, teaching my online class. How do you teach physical education online? So I started doing aerobics and all this, and some of the stuff went viral, but
I saw it.
I had no idea what I was going to do, but luckily, we got it under control, and now we can get back to coaching. But I don't know, it's natural for me, and I just do it, because it's in my heart, and I always tell people, if you work hard and you stay consistent, the Lord will bless you, and I truly believe that. I think you can cheat me, you can cheat your mom and dad, but you can't cheat God. So I truly feel like if you just work hard and you just keep pounding and pounding, the Lord would bless you. So I instill that with my team, my players, and wherever I go. And I've seen time and time again where a lot of the kids that I've coached become successful, and they always come back to that. Coach, you always said if I worked hard and I stayed consistent, then that the Lord would bless me, and he's a blessed me abundantly. So I live by it. That's who I am. It comes out in my pores. So, I think my blessings have come from, just living in Christ.
Coach C, I wanted to that you guys mentioned, I think you said earlier in the show, which all of us I think would agree, the one word I use a lot for my team at work is mindset. You got to have that mindset. Like, in other words, for this particular case, to win for life, not only winning on the field, on the court, but to win for life. And when I think about you in the 90s, like when Darren was talking about it, you were not like some guy acting. You really believed all that stuff. And if you hadn't have believed all that stuff, then the players from the 90s wouldn't have been able to go to the Orange Bowl and win 31-6 for all the Miami Hurricanes fans out there watching tonight. But there was a lot of great victories there. But the great thing about it, you taught guys not only to win on the field, but to win in life, right?
Well, absolutely. And, Steve Logan kind of gave me, Steve, he just turned me loose, so, I love Steve. I was extremely loyal to him. I had my role in the program. He recognized what my strengths were, maybe, and recognized what my strengths were. He cut me loose. He just let me do my thing, and I just handled the discipline. And I was always a very emotional person, so let me give the emotional talk, because he was very cerebral. And I wasn't so cerebral. I was more emotional. So, but I really believe that emotion is extremely important in athletics. I will always believe that. And that's why you have upsets every year. They're called upsets because this team over here doesn't even have half the talent of this other team, but for some reason they win the game. Yeah. And the reason they win the game is because they want it more than the other team. They're all on the same page. And we always believed that we were going to be in better shape than the other team. And when it got in the fourth quarter, we didn't raise any flag. We didn't show any video. We just whispered along the sideline, we want blood now. We see what's up. They're bending over. Yeah, we know what's up now. So I'm going to take them 300 to them right now. That's what that was all about. And, it was a great experience for me. I've never changed at all. I've worked for a lot of different coaches. I've survived 7 coaches. And, when it was time for me to retire, God kind of told me it was time for me to retire. So, but when he told me it was retire, I thought, now I'll go to Emerald Isle down at the beach and chill at my house and walk on the beach. And then I started looking at the players that I had, and they were up in my attic. And then I started putting the pictures in my garage and looking at them. And I said, wait a second, I got to have these guys in here to look at when I work out. So then I got the Hart Twins pictures up there, Semenza's pictures in there. So I see all them boys when I go in there and work. I got 90 pictures on jerseys on my wall in my garage. Yep. And so that's when God moved me to start this. And I don't know what's going to become of this. All I know is I'm going to give it everything I got. I'm funding the thing myself, and we're going to try to help some folks out there, and we're going to try to get into the high schools too, not just colleges. We want to get into the high schools because that's where it's really going to count. Because that's we're going to learn young to do the right things, and we want to make sure that we do that. And that guy sitting up the top there, Semenza, I want to tell you that's one of the toughest kids that I ever coached. So just make sure you understand that about him. And the other thing is, Scott, would you please say something about enthusiasm? Tell us a little bit of something from the word about enthusiasm.
Well, I'm just sitting here thinking you guys are unreal. And you had an unreal coach. You guys have enthusiasm beyond, and that's what it takes to win. And you guys have done it and are still doing it, whatever you're doing. I only think of one thing right now when you're talking about enthusiasm, and that is praise. It's just a word that is, of course, a Christian word, and it's a word we use in church a lot. But, and I'm a worship leader, so of course I'm going to say the word praise, but it is so effective. It doesn't matter if you can sing. Singing is not what I'm talking about. God wants you to lift your voice, Matt's voice, Dave's, Jeff's, Darren's brother. Is it Dave? Is that right? Kyle, yeah, all of us, and Bubba. We're supposed to lift our voices in praise enthusiastically, is what the word says. So you don't do it for other people to hear you. It's not about what you sound like when you praise. But let me just tell you this. There is a verse that King David wrote in the Bible, and he says, through the praise of your children, if you believe in Jesus, you're a child of God. Through the praise of children, God has put a stronghold against the devil, who is your enemy, the enemy of your soul, your soul, your soul, and your soul. So when you praise God, there's a stronghold against him. And when you praise enthusiastically, do you know the devil can't do anything to you guys, any of you? And that's why I praise, because I don't want the devil to have anything to do with me. It's hard enough to live without him messing on me. So anyway, that's my word. Praise enthusiastically. That's Psalm 8, verse 2. And that's what I'll leave you with. But thank you again, guys, for letting me be on. It's just amazing to be able to get some stuff and glean from you guys.
Thanks for that word.
Thank you.
Thanks very much, Scott.
Thank you.
Appreciate those words. I just want to jump in really quick. First of all, I want to say hello to Darren and David. It's been about probably 20 years, man.
Yeah,
So,
it's been a minute.
It's great to see you guys. And, I want to say to people listening that, everybody saw what these guys did on Saturdays, right? But what they didn't see was what went on behind the scenes. And the way they practiced was no different than the way they played on Saturdays. The way they worked in the weight room was no different. These guys were true leaders. And I'm really glad to see you guys are still at it after all these years. That's great. But these guys were the real deal. And they talked it, but they also walked it. And it's just great to catch up with you guys after so many years. And later on, I have definitely want to talk about some Coach Connor stories as well.
Oh yeah.
Darren, could you and Scott and we should have mentioned this, Pernell. Can we get y'all to pray for Matt to quit fighting with people on Twitter?
You got it done.
Oh yeah.
Might not happen, Kyle.
Especially with Texas fans right now after the bowl game yesterday.
Well, I was kind of thrown back from what Texas was saying. I was really hoping that the baseball team would have won, because that team we had this year reminded us of our years. The family atmosphere, the support from the play. It really reminded me, and it was a good run for our baseball team. I just really wish they would have pulled it through, because we would have been the giant killers once again. But we played well. I think they represented ECU well. Yes,
no question. And I was saying something this morning. Oh yeah, that Bubba has that up there. Cliff Godwin was playing for Clark-LeClair during his first stint at ECU, and now Cliff has his guys doing 300s. And I know how much fun you guys had running, including Semenza. Tells us how much fun he had running 300s, Coach Connors.
Oh, I barely made it, fellas, a bunch of times, but somehow I pushed through. But it was not for the faint of heart. I'll tell you that.
Definitely not.
But that made you guys a lot better on Saturdays, right? Or Thursday night or whenever you played.
Put it this way. You running 300. If Godwin's doing this, you're running training 300s. And you only got to run 60 feet to first base. So I figure you're going to be in shape, and you're going to be accelerating through first base as training that distance.
Yeah. It's a mindset, actually. It's basically, I believe, Coach C, when we started doing those, you had us up to like 6. And
That's
you never thought we would make it to 10. And you kind of put that a challenge on us, and we was pretty much in the mindset. We thought you was a little bit crazy, but we were crazier than you. So we was like, this man trying to break us. He trying to break us. He don't know us. Right. He don't know where we from. He don't know what we've been through. And I tell you, man, we would have probably ran 20 if you told us to. But that was just a mindset where, me coming in, I was a little different than Darren. He was more outspoken and the outward guy. I was more reserved to some degree, but in our group, in the DBs, I was the slowest. I was the smallest. But my mindset, like my man was saying, it was such that if I'm gonna be the leader of this group, I have to be in the front because you can't lead from the back.
That's right.
So I always was the first in all the drills. I would sprint and be the first guy in the sprints, even though I was running like a 4.6, maybe a 4.5, a high 4.5. They were running 4.3s, but I still would be in the front of them because I was exerting more effort. And what I tried to live off of, I've always said a little prayer for myself because I knew I was against the odds all my life. I always said this, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. I always take that and I say a little prayer before every game, anything I ever do in life, because that's where the strength comes from me. It's my faith. And I live by it. That's why I do extraordinary things with the little that I do have. And that's because of my faith.
I hear you.
Yep.
Well, one of the big reasons that I'm doing this is I enjoy hearing all you guys talk so much. And I'm so proud of, how you guys have developed over the years. And I can't even believe that, like, guys I coached are like 50 years old now and stuff.
Oh, man.
I know.
So it's like,
Don't remind me, Coach. I didn't play for you. I'm right there knocking at 50 next year. So,
Coach, you mentioned trying to get this program, Auburn Life, into high schools, not just colleges. What kind of reaction are you getting from high school coaches and administrators and college coaches so far through the program about being involved with their student athletes?
Well, it's very young so far. What we're trying to do right now is just get the site out there and get people to the site. We've had a few podcasts now, and so I'm in the process of making it I've still got to submit all my nonprofit paperwork, and then we're going to try to get a nonprofit grant. So we got a lot of things in the works right now, and I just brought on 2 high school coaches, Donnie Kiefer and Chuck Colburn, to try and help us get it out to the high school. And of course, the Hart brothers can help me any way they want to too. I thought they were too busy. I don't know what, every time I look on
I'm available, Coach C. Me and Darren, he takes me out on all these trips to look at high school football. It's every weekend. We always at somewhere. But we were out last week just in South Carolina at a 707, and they had this FCA Christians Fellowship. I saw this book and I picked up one. It says the Coach's Bible.
Yeah.
And they have a lot of good stuff in here, and I'm definitely on board. It looks like we're kind of similar to that. Yeah. But they had a little table out there.
FCA.
Yeah, FCA. Yeah. They had a little table out there, and they had these little Bibles for coaches.
Right.
And I picked up one. It really is. I told the guy when I saw it, because a lot of people they were going past the table. They didn't really get it. It just hit me. It hit me like a rock. So I picked up a book. I'm all on board, man. And I think we're kind of similar to this. We definitely need to get out. And I'm on board, man. So whatever I can do, let me know, and I'll be there.
And Mark C will be on board. He's at Livingstone. Him and Jermaine Smith is at Livingstone College.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Hey, let me say just 10 seconds. We partner with FCA, Fellowship of Christian Athletes. I'm part of FCA here in Eastern North Carolina, and I'm good friends with the regional director of Fellowship of Christian Athletes, and we partner with them. We'll take and go just a little bit deeper individually and mentor a little bit more, but we partner with them. So if anybody has connections with Fellowship of Christian Athletes, Armored Life would partner with them. We don't necessarily go into the school system the way that FCA does, but we don't want to compete with them, of course. But any connection we have with FCA, there's a 7-on-7 right now at the University of Mount Olive this week with 1,000 athletes. And so we're trying to get the word into them too. They're great partners with Armored Life. Thank you for mentioning that, David.
Sure.
Yeah,
Coach, I had a question for you. Bubba was asking for folks that like myself, and obviously we have been doing the podcast for almost 4.5 years, but where can people find the Armored Life podcast? I know you've done, I think it's 3 episodes now, Coach?
Well, it's on the site, armoredlife.org.
Okay.
The podcasts are on the site along with a lot of other information, things that I've written. We got some guys on there giving messages, videos of messages. We've got our team sending in things.
Coach is training people
all
too.
the time.
Coach has got tons of training videos on there too. He's going at it.
Yeah, we got all the kettlebell stuff on there that I teach, and we've got some information on speed. We're just going to keep adding to the site.
It sounds good. And I know Bubba said former NC State quarterback and football color analyst Johnny Evans does a great job with FCA. That's right, Bubba. I'd forgotten about that, but I know that he does great work with FCA. And that's the thing, guys, that I tell my kids all the time. I have a son 9, Alexander, and a daughter Mackenzie 8. And I told them that one of the most important things, not only sports, but obviously church as well. And so we're doing both of that. And I've seen a huge difference with them of how it's amazing. I want you guys to talk about this, but my daughter said something very profound back in January. She started playing basketball, and she said, basketball makes me feel good about myself. And I thought about that, how she's only 8 years old, but how deep that was for an 8-year-old to have that like self-reflection.
Absolutely. That's what it's all about. And so, we know there's other organizations out there, and we basically just want to be another organization of support toward what they are doing. We're all trying to do the same thing. Like I say, this is not a money-making venture. We're just trying to reach some people and help them the best we can, and just bring people to the site and bring them to a spiritual life if they need a spiritual life, and provide mentors to them as well, because they can actually put their information on the site and we can get back to them through the site as well.
Guys, I'm speaking out of turn because I haven't asked you, Coach, privately, but is this something that you guys see in Scott and maybe Hart Twins, Semenza? Do you guys ever see this being like something that we would have like once a year, like a convention where you could get like coaches and players and ministers all together? Something that would be right off the top of my, just right now in the last 30 seconds. So I haven't asked you that, Coach. We were talking this morning, but it was just an idea that just popped in my head.
I'm never going to limit my vision. My vision will continue to expand. So I'm all about it. Whatever we can do.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I'm with it. I'm with it. 100%.
Yes, sir.
Fellowship is everything to us. We love the fellowship in any way, any place, any time. And I think that's something that's needed with a lot of former players and athletes in general, because once we leave the sports that we play and we get into the real world, we deal with real world issues, and we need that spirituality to carry us through a lot of times. And the fellowship is definitely needed.
Scott, and also, I'm sorry, I failed to mention music. I love music, and I know that that's something that music brings everyone together. Sports is another thing I was just thinking about. I tell my kids all the time about how, we live in a world where it seems like we're divided politically, race-wise, all kinds of stuff going on right now. But sports is a way for Matt Semenza and the Hart Twins. I mean, you're from New Jersey. What are the chances that you guys would ever known each other if it wasn't for Pirate football and being able to play sports together?
Yeah,
exactly. I was very fortunate to be a part of those teams and to have an opportunity to come down from New Jersey with a few other guys. We had quite a few guys from Jersey back then, and have a chance to play.
Scott Harley.
Harley.
Yep. Gonzalez was a Jersey guy. We had quite a few back in the day, but no doubt about it.
Who went up there to get y'all?
Martin.
Martin.
Yeah.
I was thinking about him. Man. Just thinking about him on this afternoon. That's funny because I knew you guys were coming home and coming on tonight, riding home. I was thinking about that. as far as I know with this great thing, I tell you what, we need to get this in front of a lot of people in Pirate Nation. I think there's a lot of great players, coaches from the past, certainly a lot of fans that we want to make sure that they do that. And by the way, Coach, before I forget too, I was telling you this morning, I really want to find a way and for the Twins and Semenza and for Pernell, everybody that involved with this, I want to see if there's a way that we could get somewhere to donate money. I know there's a lot of time, money, but there are a lot of ways that we can give back and help you guys out with Armored Life.
Well, we're in the process of putting that together where people can donate to the site. Basically, all we'd be looking for is just, enough money to run the site. I mean, this is a nonprofit deal. So I don't really have that set up at this point, although I've already had some people donate some money, which is very much appreciated. The only thing that I can say right now is, they can contact me and I can try to make that happen the right way at this point until we get something in place on the site, if they're really interested in donating. And, and we can, if we got enough to spread it around to the team, we'll do that.
Hey, I tell you what, by the way, before I forget, guys, I've got one more thing for y'all, and thanks, Coach and players, all the guys at Scott for coming on. But I was in the jungle this weekend watching the baseball team, and I looked behind me, and I saw the practice field. Then I saw Coach Tesh, who's one of the coaches now, and I saw Coach Houston on Friday. Got me thinking about September 3rd with one of y'all's favorite teams, NC State, coming into town. What is it going to take to, you keep hearing, I know Kyle is getting all those Kyle is one of those magazine nerds. He has like about 10 of the magazines already before you have a chance to even go to Barnes & Noble or anywhere to buy them. But anyway, they're talking about NC State being a top 15 team. I thought about you guys from the I thought about you guys from the 90s.
Some people are saying top 10. Some people are saying top 10.
Supposed to take the Atlantic. Wow. That's what I heard.
Yeah.
They're loaded now.
Yeah. So my question is for you guys, being that you were giant killers in the 90s, knowing you were coming on tonight, how do you beat an NC State knowing that one way is we need to make sure that crowd is rocking at Dowdy, Ficklin. We need to make sure it's a whole bunch of former players coming, Coach Connors, Scott, Kyle, all of us could be there and make sure it's really loud and a rocking atmosphere against NC State. We can't have the 35,000s of the world to. I feel like we have a lot of talent.
Dave, we're playing NC State. If there's 35,000 people there, then that might mean Scotty Moe's back and Jeff Thompson's here.
Yeah. I think the secret sauce is let us into the halftime locker room so we can finish the business. They actually did this. True story. They let us in the locker room at NC State when we played Miami.
Down 21.
We were down 21. They let us in the locker room to fire up the guys, and we came back and won the game. The coaches sat to the side, and they let us kind of have at it. And we kind of just had some words we can't say here, but we basically lit a fire in them and let them know that, we put on our pants just like they do. Even though they have all the talent in the world, we can beat them, and hopefully that resonates with this team this year.
No doubt about it. And just taking a look at that game, guys, it always comes down to not turning the ball over and then turning them over. And we saw that last year pop up against South Carolina in the opener, where we turned the ball over right before halftime it was a screen.
Yeah.
And that play, I think, really changed the whole game. And, you take that one turnover away and we were in business to win that game. So I think, in the openers, it always comes down to execution, which team is prepared, which team's hungriest. And then obviously, whoever turns it over the most is going to probably lose. So, but let's definitely get the hearts in there for the halftime speech.
Oh, man.
I'm all for it.
We're going to be there. We're going to be at the game. We're going to be there.
No, most definitely. And I say
intimidated by NC State, and I always haven't been I haven't been at East Carolina my whole career, but I have been on a sideline over 10 times with victories over NC State. I will tell you that. So
Wow.
they don't scare me.
It's going to be a lot of fun. Get your tickets, 1-800-ECU.
Hey, what time is that game?
It's a noon game.
It's like that's the only reason I ain't come back to the jungle. It's hard to make the noon games.
Well, I'll tell you what, we got to find a way to get that. And by the way, guys, we in our group text today, Cincinnati, I think, is already sold out of their season tickets. What was it, guys? 24,000.
Well, you would hope so after coming off of a playoff appearance.
I understand, but there's a pride thing, Pirate pride. When you see a team like Cincinnati, come on, guys, we got to do better and facilities. And I don't want to get off too much. That's another show, as they say, but we got to do. When you see Cincinnati, you guys back in the day, look what they have done. And all I'm saying is that look at what Cincinnati's done. If they're doing it, there's no reason why we can't. After the fan base that we have, when the athletes we have, we're going to have that strength in. We're going to have the indoor practice facility and all the stuff that we have a $60 million campaign. It's time for all the people, instead of talking, we need to start giving money. There's a lot of people that are not giving money right now that are Pirates, and we need a lot of people to give money right now. Let's make it happen. And we need to make and we're talking obviously about Armored Life, so I want to make sure that Coach, you need to let folks know, let me know, and we'll put it on social media how people can donate. And Scott the same way, and we're gonna keep up with you guys. And I know it's going to be a nice ride, and whatever we can do to help you out, we're always here for you guys.
And Coach, the website is armoredlife.org.
Yeah, that's it. Armoredlife.org.
Yeah, guys. And really quick, I just want to say there's nobody better to lead this type of project than Coach C. I mean, I just want to say, a lot of people don't realize that a college football player spends more time with the strength and conditioning coach than anybody. You spend the majority of your time with strength and conditioning. And, this is probably the highest compliment I can give a coach. But Coach C had a unique ability to push you to the brink, push you to the absolute brink, but you still wanted to run through a wall for him. And, there's some coaches, they push you to that brink and you want to turn around and punch them in the face. But Coach C had that unique ability to do that and command respect. And so there's nobody better to lead this type of project. And I'm sure Darren and David will tell you exactly the same thing. We were just fortunate to have that time with you, Coach, and I wish you all the success in the world with this.
Yes, likewise.
Much appreciated. It means the world to me to hear something like that, and that's why we coach.
And I know you guys were going to say some Coach C stories before we go. I know we've kept you guys along, but you got to tell me are there some stories you can tell on the podcast, on our show that are ones? I'm sure there's ones you can't, but are there certain ones? Whoever between the twins or Semenza, whoever wants to start up.
Go ahead. I can't remember.
You guys want to go first, or you want me to jump in?
You can start it off.
This isn't as much of a story as it is. I'll just say, I'll never forget one of the very first weight room session with Coach C. I think I was 17. Just came down from New Jersey. I would talk about a fish out of water. I had no idea what the hell was going on. And I was probably like 210 pounds soaking wet. And I remember going through the very first workout like it was yesterday. And I think I called my father later that night and I said, damn, I don't know what I got myself into down here for the next 4 years, because this is no joke. And, it turned out to be obviously a great situation, but, I'll never forget those experiences. That's for sure. I mean, if you could make it through those workouts, you could probably make it through anything.
Well, I got a story about the Hart twins. I mean, they screwed up something one time, and I don't know what they did wrong. They never did many things wrong. They always pretty much made the right choices, but I don't know if they were late for something or what happened. But I had this 5-station deal, and I said, ain't nobody getting through this thing. And I did not see pain in the expression on their faces the entire time we went through that deal. And I've never seen it. I can't remember exactly what it all was, but I was truly amazed at how tough you guys were. And you got through that with a smile on your face. And it was like, you don't break us. We the Hart Twins. I said,
We
okay.
train, man. We love to train, man. We love to train.
I got one. I got one. Well, I got two, but one of them was when I was fighting, and I rarely fight in practice. Well, I ain't gonna say that, but I was fighting, I think, Jairus McPhail, and he got a good shot in on me. And this the only time I got kicked out of practice. And I walked with my whole uniform. If y'all can imagine somebody walking on campus down by Scott Dorm, because they kicked me out of practice. So I kept all my uniform on, and I just left. They said, get out of here. And Connors is the one that I wasn't going anywhere until Connors said something, because he ran over there. And when Connors said, get out of here, so I left. And I just left practice, and they were like, where the hell is he, So I think, Connors, you sent somebody to go get me. but I'm sitting on the bus stop with all my uniform on, and just sitting there like, I can't believe that, they let a running back hit me, because he got a good shot on me. There used to be some bushes out by the practice field, and I think I tackled him into the bushes, so he came out and hit me in the damn chin. And I didn't like that, but that was one. And another one was when I thought I knew I was in the right place was when you remember Willie Brookins, Coach?
Oh yeah.
So Willie Brookins is a huge human being. He one of the biggest guys on our team at the time.
Yeah.
And something had happened. I don't know what happened, Coach C, but Coach C, he might have came late to a 5 a.m. workout or something. And Coach C was fed up. So he said he challenged this guy. Coach C is small, and then you challenging one of the D linemen. And he really was mad this morning. You remember this, Coach C? So he told Willie, he said, bring your butt outside. We can take this outside. And I'm like, this strength coach is gonna fight this big D lineman, But he was serious. So Willie goes out, and then the whole team just follows behind, and of course they didn't fight, but anybody that had the courage to kind of the challenge a guy, and he was serious. Like, coaches don't fight players. But the point he was making, though, the point that the everlasting effect that had on me was like, man, this guy is unbelievable. Like, he's not scared of nothing. And he used to be a cop. We heard all them stories. You read his book, you'll see that he was a cop, and he was tough before he got here. His father's tough, but man, when you did that, Coach, I was like, man, this guy is unbelievable. and remember, who was the big, tall strength coach we had?
That was Big J.
Big J, yeah. And I could see Jay going against Willie. But not you. But you didn't back down from none of us.
Well, that's what me, you, and your brother have in common.
Well, my story it has to do with the story you told us, and I'll never forget it because I'm like this to this day. You told us the story about the dog soldier.
Yeah.
And that was the Army game. It was the Army game, and you were telling us about how they were gonna be like a machine, and they just gonna come out no matter what. They're gonna just keep pounding us, and we got to be mentally tough and all this. And you told us that story about the few. It was only a select few that can actually be a dog soldier, and the dog soldier will put the stake in the ground. And it would be the first line of defense before the war. And those certain people, it's only a select few, they would put the stake in the ground and be the first line of defense. And the reason they put the stake in the ground is because they weren't going to run and they weren't going to go anywhere. They were going to fight to the death.
That's right.
And that's what kind of heart I have. And you know this because it's in us. It's something you can't explain. But when you told that story, I was like, oh my God, I'm invincible. We went out and I had the best game of my career against Army with one arm. I had one arm. I had broken my wrist, and I had a big cast on my right arm. And I had the pitch I had the quarterback and the pitch guy with one arm. And I ended up having, I guess, the most tackles I've ever had at ECU. But that story that you told us, it resonates with me even to this day, because it's only a select few people that want to go out when there's adversity and want to be on the front line. So that's me all day. I'm gonna be there for you any day, anywhere. All you have to do is let me know.
Yes, sir.
All
well,
right,
that was the Pirate culture, brother. That was the Pirate culture, and that's what I will always recognize as the Pirate culture.
Not backing down, no quarter, right? No quarter. Well, guys, thank you so much for coming on tonight. It's truly an honor, Coach C, Scott, the Hart twins. It means a lot to have you guys on. Thank you for all your hard work. Even Semenza up there. I'll take Semenza for the block, like we're talking about Hollywood Squares, but appreciate what y'all did, because, we're trying really hard to get the football program. I know we're talking about obviously Armored Life, but we really want the football program to be back at a level that, we're going to major bowls, and not a bowl, but a lot of bowls back to back to back to back, like we did in the 90s. And I know Elliot was on there talking about the class of 95. That's when I graduated. So I had a lot of great times from the Peach Bowl, all the Liberty Bowls. So Elliot's saying, Darren, were you in Scott Hall when I was at ECU? He was in the ECU in the 90s, 95. I think he said 90 in the 90s.
Oh yeah. We was in the dorm until our senior year, because we felt like as long as we had a meal and a place to sleep, we were pretty good. We were good. Everybody else kind of want to live on campus, and hell, we say, why live on campus when everybody come on campus to go out? So that was our little deal. But yeah, we lived on campus. I was on campus in '95.
All right.
And Coach, again, the website is armoredlife.org. If people want more information, and so to go check it out. And like it's been said before, there's podcasts up there, workout videos, et cetera, et cetera. So armoredlife.org.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right. Hope you guys have a great night. Love to have you all back on before football season, and let us know how things are going with Armored Life.
Thank you so much. Thank you guys. Appreciate it.
Great
All right,
night,
guys. Good to see you, man.
Okay.
What a great show, guys. Appreciate Coach Connors and all the guys. And you had a little bit of a reunion, right, Semenza? A lot of football players, and definitely defense.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, I've keep up with Coach C. We talk, or text at least, a few times a year, but I haven't talked to the Hart twins or Pernell, and man, it's been probably 20 years.
Oh,
so,
man.
It's been a long time. Now, I live obviously really far away, so I don't get to see people too often, unfortunately. But great to catch up with those guys for sure.
Matt, you weren't a part of things yet. Back in 2020 during the pandemic, we did a few virtual watch parties because nobody had anything else to do, and rewatched several games of the Hart twins and Pernell, Scott Harley, all kinds of different guys. Yeah, we might have to do that again sometime.
No doubt. And by the way, guys, I know Elliot wants to talk about it. He's really hurt. You know what? Talking about baseball, the baseball game, and we're going to probably do a special show.
Two Bubbas.
Yeah, Bubba and Bubba. I'm seeing
Elliot. If you go back, I don't know how long you've been watching the show, but go back to the beginning of the show once it's archived, which will be right after we're done, and we had Gregg Olson on to discuss the Super Regional and the regionals earlier in the show. So lots of coverage of the Super Regional, the first half of the show.
Right. We'll try to do an extra innings show. We'll do that probably sometime this week to kind of wrap everything up. And it's kind of raw right now. But you know what? I'll tell you guys right now, am I hurt? Of course I'm hurt. I'm not hurt for me because I don't play the game. I'm hurt for the players. And Matt and Bubba, I know you guys played football, but I'm really hurt for the players, the coaches that put the hours in. I was thinking about all the staff, everybody that really, works hard for the program. The fans, we're hurt, but guess what? We'll have next year. But Bryson Wool will not, Ben Newton, guys like that, Coach Maynard will not have next year. So that's what I'm not upset for me. I know some fans get a little too about themselves. I'm just hurt for the players and the coaches.
Well, you know what? Fans have the right to be upset, and it's okay. That's why they're fans. If they didn't care, they wouldn't have filled up the stadium. So it's okay to be upset. I'm upset for the players, and I'm upset for the coaches, and I'm upset for the fan base because we want it. And the day we stop wanting it, and the day we stop caring, and the day we stop being upset, program's doomed. Because if there's one sport that you can be good at because want to, it's baseball. If you want to be good in baseball at a college and your fan base is passionate about it, you'll have a good baseball program. And that's something that East Carolina's always prided themselves on. And so I have no problems with fans being upset about not going to Omaha. And it hurts. And but you're right, we'll have next year, and we'll get there eventually. And hopefully it'll be next year. When you're that close and you don't make it, it hurts. And God knows, as bad as it hurts the players even worse. But there's a lot of guys that are on this team that will be back next year, like Jacob Jenkins Coward, and several other guys, and we'll get there.
Yeah, it's not being pissed off and upset because, like you're saying, there would be something wrong, really wrong, if you weren't pissed off and upset. My thing is, and I've certainly been guilty of this myself. I'm not saying that, but and trying to get better at it. Not allowing that, being pissed off to cause you to lose perspective at what was accomplished this year, and saying things that you may not say if you weren't pissed off, as far as a lack of effort, embarrassing, and those sorts of things. But there
was no lack of effort. Anybody that said there was a lack of effort is an idiot.
Lane Hoover, and it was far from just Lane, but diving, making catches in the left center gap, down 8 or 9-1 there last night, and the guys running balls out. And I mean, it just wasn't our night.
I think we were mentally exhausted. I think we blew, for lack of a better term, I think we blew our wad Saturday. And quite honestly, I think we were the better baseball team. I think Texas was the more talented baseball team. And when you have an opportunity to put away the more talented team, and you don't do it, and you let them back in it like we did, it's going to come back to bite you.
Yeah, well, I think that's a good point, Kyle. I mean, I'll be honest, guys. In the 5th inning of Game 2, I'm thinking to myself, "Hey, let's start packing our bags," because it seemed like we had the game in control. It really did, and I know it's a 9-inning game, but it seemed like we had the game in control. And then what a roller coaster ride! I can't imagine what it was like for the players, and Cliff Godwin, but. Texas obviously makes that comeback, and I think we just didn't have any gas left in the tank for day 3. Yeah. Really unfortunate situation. One thing I do want to say, though, on a positive note, the fact that our fans, I got to give our fans a ton of credit, and I'll also be the first person to be critical, like if fans leave early for a game, but I gotta give a ton of credit because after that rain delay, the fact that we still had that many people in the stands going crazy, that was impressive. That was really impressive. That was big time. So You got to give the fans a lot of credit for staying out because, most people around the country in different programs at that point are home in bed.
A lot of ifs and buts and fruits and nuts. Bubba, sorry, I mean to step on you there, but I just want to ask this. We had that 5 p.m. start, which I said was a mistake the time we did it. I was telling, everybody else, I don't know why we just don't come up with the PA system now. And so we planned to start the game about 9 o'clock. It ended up being 10 o'clock. Starting at 5 o'clock was a huge mistake. If that game never started at 5 o'clock and it started at 10:15, with that crowd as lively as they were at 10:15 after all the beers they had, do you guys think the results might have been different?
I do. And I don't know that to be true, but I tell you, I had a really bad feeling about, and I was thinking about this in the regional, and I didn't say anything on purpose, but I was like, we've made it pretty much the whole regional without any rain, right? And I said, and after we won the regional, I said, I'm not saying a thing about rain delays on our shows. On purpose, I did not say anything because I didn't want to speak it into existence. And to have it happen on Sunday, it just, I don't know. It's, when we lost on Saturday, when Jacob Starling hit that, I know we're going to have our wrap-up show, if you will, for extra innings sometime this week and the next week. But to see Jacob Starling hit that home run in the ninth, I say, here we go. We're coming back, baby. We're gonna find a way to probably go into extra innings and win this thing. And it was just so sad to after that, I was just so deflated on Saturday night with the game. And I can't imagine what the players, they obviously, and coaches, it was tough.
Well, I hadn't listened, we'll wrap this up, but I hadn't listened to Coach Godwin's full post-game press conference from last night. It'll probably be a couple days before I will, just because it's still so raw. But I read an excerpt where he said Saturday was our opportunity.
Yep.
And so he knew it. He knew it without saying it. He wasn't going to tell his guys that, but he knew what they were walking into last night. So
no doubt. And Bubba, you were there. What was your reaction being there at the end? The end.
And I just want to point out Dave left before me.
No, I started to leave myself, and the reason I was leaving is I need to be back this morning, and I wasn't going to be able to stay if the game was played today. It was a downpour about 9:30. I said, there's no way we're going to be able to play. So I headed out of town, and I got to Farmville, and then I got an alert on my phone on Twitter, and people were texting me the screenshot as well saying first pitch 10:15. So, of course, I immediately turned around, headed back to the jungle, and I actually watched the entire game in right center field instead of my normal spot there on the concourse. And just it was such an unbelievable atmosphere, like Matt said, going in 10:15 first pitch. You'd had an hour rain delay, then you'd played less than a half inning, and then you have another hour you have about 5 hour rain delay. So 6 in total. And it's just, it was unbelievable because, we were wondering, I thought there'd be a decent crowd there, but never did I think there were going to be 4,000 plus. And you look at it, there were really hardly any chairback seats empty. And then some of the bleacher seats on the third base line and some of the bleacher seats around the Texas fans on the first base line. But I would say out of the 3,000 seats in the grandstand that, at least between 2,000 and 2,500 were full. And then you had a strong crowd in the jungle. So you had 4,500 and it was rocking when Trey Savage got those couple of strikeouts to end the top of the first. And then we came in, we got one, but you might could have got more. You had runners on the corners, nobody out, had a 3-0 count. Unfortunately, Bryson, nobody can say anything with everything he did. And Bryson would tell you this himself, I'm sure, but he flew out to left field, a shallow left field, because we weren't able to score the run on that. But just wasn't our night, wasn't to be. But, the Pirate Nation, like Cliff said in the post game, was sticking behind the team, purple and gold cheers, doing everything they could to try to create that spark and allow us to chip away at the lead and get back into it.
Yeah, when we first came out there, and not Sailor, but Savage got the 2 outs, and we came out pow pow pow, and 2 men on base and 3-0 count to Whirl. I thought, oh man, we can come back and win this damn thing, and unfortunately, it wasn't meant to be. But is what it is. We can beat this drum to death. What time was the game over? Late.
It was about 1:30, Elliot. 1:30, give or take a few minutes, because I know I've heard members of the media who were able to attend the post-game press conference that took place about 2 or 2:15.
Yeah, I turned it off. After the bottom of the 8th, and went to bed. I had to get up and go to work. Had to be up at 6 o'clock this morning, and it was about 1:05 at that point. So, anyway,
Right.
Put that to bed, and then we'll do an extra innings probably one day this week and recap everything and start looking forward to football.
No doubt about it. Thank you, guys. Thanks to Gregg Olson. Did a great job of the ESPN broadcast this weekend for not only the regional but super regional. And thanks to our great guest, everybody for Armored Life. And I want to thank also Matt Semenza. Appreciate him. I know he had to take his son to I believe a sporting event, so appreciate him very much. Kyle, Bubba, thank you guys so much. Until next time, when we do our wrap-up show this week with Extra Innings, you've been watching and listening to Extra Innings right here. Good night, everybody. Go Pirates.
My heart is purple and gold. I'm a pirate down in my soul, and I don't back